Sirens are going off in the background. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hope everybody's having a fabulous day. Feeling a little bit frisky in the day, are you? I always am. There's always some kind of shenanigans that that I'm up to in some way. So hello, everybody.
Feeling a little bit frisky in the day, are you?
There we go. I'm just gonna say hello to everybody here. There we go. Send it out there. So blessings to everybody. Wow. Let's see who's going to come in and speak to me today. Woo! Oh, my hair. There we go. That's okay. That's okay. I'll just continue to do my thing because today is a very frisky day. So, one of the things that because I've been working on my tapping into your power with your blue flame, and I'm wearing blue today. I just realized that, and I just realized I lit a blue candle. Like some things just happen that you just do them subconsciously, and you don't even realize that you're doing it, and it's just becomes a part. It's that but part of it's just like what part of that brain. Look at my cup is blue. My cup is blue. So I wrote in blue today. It is that part of the brain once you know about something or you recognize something, you end up seeing it everywhere. So it's like, you're going to go buy a red Jeep, and then all of a sudden, like, I never see red Jeeps. I'm going to buy a red Jeep. Then you see red Jeeps everywhere, right? So as soon as I start talking about the blue flame and working with the blue flame, all of a sudden, like, I'm finding this information, and I'm finding, I'm bringing blue in to my life, so it's that beautiful part of our brain that, we recognize things that they were there, but now we are igniting them, and it's igniting that energy. So, in working on this course that I'm doing, tapping into your blue flame, one of the things that I realized, just because you can take a punch, and I wrote this, just because you can take a punch does not mean you must stand in front of a fist, particularly not when the fist is your own. With an extremely, internal self-dialogue, which I can have very much so, I can beat myself up for who I was and was not, who I had and had not done, what I have and have not done, and the world that I was more than I actually believed I could ever be. It's a crazy making behavior that we have. And I was doing it to myself. Like I do this to myself many times. And I, go through all of this, especially with some of the experiences that I've been experiences of late, and it's like, oh, well, that can't be really happening. That's not true. I'm making it all up. It's all in my head. But I've been watching some beautiful shows. One of the shows that I watched, it's called Just Say Yes. And these lovely reporters, these dudes go around to get people to say yes. And they travel, and sometimes they just travel to places. One of the places that they traveled to was Iran. And they did a 7-day trip to Iran. And they went to northern Iran. And because it is a war-torn, unfortunately, place. But their guide was, and I'd say he's about 27, but he's always laughing. And he said, when he was 7 years old, he was taken because of ISIS coming in, and they had to flee. And he was a Kurd, and he had to flee. His family had to flee their land and go into camps. And he said it was hard. He goes, it took us, a couple weeks, and then we were placed and feeling displaced. But he said one of the things is his grandfather said, you got to look at it, but you got to find the good things in life. In amongst all of this crazy, just think of it. Just think that something foreign comes into your country, somebody foreign saying that they know the way, everything else, and they move you. And it's happened. It's happened over and over. It's happened even in our country. We've done that to our to the people who've lived here originally. But to find the happiness in it all. And the thing is that they, ISIS moved on, and some of the things that they had to go back and live, and the prisons that he had to go back, and he, touring around showed him some of the with Saddam Hussein too, some of the things that Saddam did, and the prisons that were set up. And the prisons weren't set up because you're bad. The prisons were set up to kill you. And the torture and the dismantlement that they did. And that's the thing. And then I started to think of things that are happening in our world today. We get so fearful of what we don't know. We get so fearful when an opinion isn't the same as ours. Instead of taking the time to learn or understand, we react very swiftly, and it's done. Same with in a place in Massachusetts where they had alien activity in 1969. I think it was September 1st. In 1969, several people all had very similar experiences all at once. But they didn't want to talk about it because of fear, because everybody will think that they're weird, and, they will get kicked out, or they won't be accepted. And here we're coming to a time where we are wanting, like the energies that I feel that are coming in are wanting us to unite in our uniqueness, and to embrace our differences. And that's a big, big thing, is to embrace others' differences and opinions, even though they may not be that of yours, but embracing them with love. That's the key. Not embracing them like a fucking asshole, but coming into that place, just like I saw those young men and women, like there was one girl, embracing and finding that a culture was so embracing of them, and being from America, and wanting to embrace that. And I feel it. I can feel it every time. Now I'm going to cry. I don't know why. I've been crying a lot lately. But wanting to embrace that difference is important. Yet people get hung up. I just saw something about, I just deleted it, because it was just like, you have so much hate in your heart. And I can feel the hate in your heart. It was just bringing up what happened. You don't know what happened 1,000 years ago. You don't know what happened. Like, actually, to documenting, how people were feeling, or sensing, or thinking. We don't know. We can just go by what was written, right? Or the art that we find, but we don't actually know. That's the thing. We can assume. We can think. Same with even things that were happening 200 years ago. We can sort of have an idea. And that's the thing, is that we can have an idea about it, but we don't actually know. But what we do know is where we are now. What we do know is how we need to act today. And that's what we do know. And that's where the energies are coming in. That's where it is coming in, where, yeah, it's an augmentative day. Eris is up there. Eris is this, she's, for the past 2 years, she's been making these squares to Pluto. And she's going to come up to 2 more squares to Pluto. And Pluto is the transformational energy. He is the phoenix, brings you to the ashes, takes things away so that you can rise again. Eris is the goddess of discord. And, if you've looked at the past few years, especially the last 2 years, there's been a lot of argumentative and disagreements and changes that have been happening in our world and coming forth. And this is where this energy is coming in. It's like also saying, yeah, there is a lot of unhappiness that is there. And who is along with this is the moon. The moon is at about 6 degrees Virgo, and it's forming what we call the hammer of Thor. Now, anybody with a moon in Virgo, they're a little feisty. They're just a little feisty. They're going to come out fighting, right? They're going to come out and they're going to boom. They're quick. They're emotional. They're going to boom. There's a reaction with them. And she's forming a quincunx to the moon. The moon is forming a quincunx to Pluto and to Eris. So you might be finding yourself a little frisky today. Yet Mercury still is in charge. He is the dude in the heavens right now, and he's retrograde. So you might not have all the information, right? So all the information might not be there. So you might get, this is where it's like maybe you need to find out more or wait till Mercury goes forward. And that's the thing. There's a lot of reactions with what's coming up. And yeah, I reacted. I mean, I put about Canada Day, and I'm Canadian, and you know what? I want to celebrate Canada Day because I want to celebrate that diversity that I believe is there. I have I have friends in many different nationalities, different sexes, pan, gender, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck. And it is the spirit that connects us. It is that unity of love that connects us. And that's the beauty. And that's where this energy is coming in, because Virgo can be very quick to react, right? And come into that quickness. And I'm just reading what's happening here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Dana's still in her bathrobe, by the way. So she's in a blue bathrobe. So she's joining me with a blue bathrobe before I continue on here. Hello, Candice. Hello, Charlene. And yesterday when a scammer called me 3 times in the morning. Want to buy a whistle and blow down the phone. Oh, yes. Woke me up. Oh, wow. I'm going to send you some love there. Lots of love there. But there's a reaction there. So we have this energy that's coming in. And Santiago is here with me. Boy, love you. Gotta just, have to get loud when I talk to him. Bring in the loudness. But it is a frisky day, but it's a day to have a little caution with what you do. I wrote also because, yesterday when I wrote, what the fuck, Canada Day, it's blowing up all over Twitter. It's blowing up on a lot of podcasts, Canadian podcasts that I watch, and they're talking about it. And I started listening to some historians, which is really cool. So listening to some historians about the history. And that's the whole thing. It's like learning history. It's like even learning, like I love English history, like, about UK and Ireland and finding out. So archaeology and finding out that history, I find it very fascinating. And, how changes have happened throughout the years, and invasions and takeovers and Romans taking over. And then, from the Romans came in, the Anglo-Saxons took over. And then, all of these, takeovers over time. And all of these things, I just love that history. Anyways, to that point where some people I don't even fucking know, or they don't even really follow me, but are like, I'm going to not follow you. And then blurting things out on there. I just delete them because it's not even worth it. But that's the thing, is that you got to look at the energies and the friskiness and people, and you're going to find a lot of crazy news coming out today. So there's going to be some really crazy news that's going to come out and hit the fan. because of the hammer of Thor, right? It's and the thing is that what I've noticed with Eris and Pluto and the squares, it's been bringing out things about sexual predators. So you might be finding out more things about sexual predators or predators out there. So information like that, I feel is coming in, and especially in August and October, more of that's going to come out, because that's when Pluto and Eris are going to come into another full square. Now, this energy is really, as that moon in Virgo is very much, as my girlfriend called it, Mary Poppins. And I thought, oh, I love that. I love that. It's a very Mary Poppins type of energy. And Mary Poppins has the hammer of Thor. So here comes the hammer of Thor, and it's going to swing down. It's going to swing down. It's going to tell you it's going to be tough and very fierce. So there's going to be a toughness that's coming in and a fierceness that's going to be coming out, because it's all about protection and protecting our own sovereignty, protecting our own selves, maybe even protecting loved ones. But the thing is that we have to still proceed with caution, because we may not have all the information. And so this is where things might come in. But the other part is that the moon in Virgo, is squaring the nodes of fate. And we have Venus popping in, and Venus is, God bless Venus. She's in Cancer, and she's emotional, and she's been talking to her Zeus, Jupiter, and just letting him know what's going on. And she's just so emotional, and she's just like overwhelmed, and he's overwhelmed, and he's just like, I don't know what to do with this woman. There's just so much emotion here. And of course it gets expanded, because that's what Jupiter does. He expands it. And then, and then of course Mercury's like hearing all of this, and Mercury's going over to the moon and saying, have you heard? Have you heard? Look at what's happening to poor little Venus. And poof comes the hammer of Thor. And the energy comes out. And this is where, you hear something, or you want to stand up for it. But it's like sometimes, in standing up for something, before you stand up for something, and that's one of the things that I found for myself, before I stand up for something, I look into the history. I look into the information, or the people that are in charge, is a big thing, and find out what they're about, or even read what they're all about. And sometimes you'd be very surprised to find out it might sound like a fabulous, great cause, but then you find that their hand is in a deep pocket, and they're just putting out a facade over the whole thing. And so this is where you got to come in, and you got to trust your gut. The Queen of Cups reversed. You got to trust yourself. And sometimes if it's out of the blue, you got to wait till Mercury goes direct before you get the full information. But if you've been brooding on something, this might be the day you get the kick in the ass to get shit done, because it's time to do it. So there are blind spots. And I think in our world today, there's a lot of fucking blind spots on people. We don't see it all. We don't understand it all, but we're reacting from something that we don't even know or have the full information on. And some of it is atrocities, and some of it is only we get a snapshot. And that's what, when I worked at Starbucks, we used to do snapshots. And I hate snapshots, because a snapshot doesn't show you the full picture, doesn't show you the before of what was happening, doesn't show you all the angles. You can look at something at one angle. It might look like, I saw a picture of Prince William, and from the side view, it looks like he's fingering people, but actually it's just the way that he's holding his hand up, just giving a wave. That was it. That was all he was doing. But from another view, it looked like somebody was flipping him, he was flipping people off. So this is where it's like, we got to be aware, right? But people are very reactive to information that comes in. And before you react, and that's the whole thing, with a lot of, with a lot of things that have been happening, especially here in Canada, before I react, I want to find out more information on this. I'm not just going to grow. I'm just not going to go and join a group because that's what, oh, yes, you got to join this group. Why do I have to join that group? Why do I have to take that stand? I can empathize with the energies that have happened, but I want more information. I want more information. And a lot of it, it might take a little bit. And as the information comes out, this is where you find those barking dogs come out barking like crazy, yet they do fuck all. All they do is bark. All they do is sit around and bitch and complain and bitch and complain and do fuck all. And this is where the energy's coming in. It's saying, okay, maybe you need to look at things that are going on. And do not go up there and just try and fix it because you think that is what should be done. Instead of taking a step back and maybe taking a little bit and waiting and moodling it over and following the heart and following the love. And forgiveness goes a long way. And when the one young man from Iran, how he laughs, and he goes, if I don't laugh, he goes, the thing is, he goes, laughter, when I put it out there, I know it's going to come back. He goes, one day people won't see me as a terrorist. And that's the thing, is like, seeing people for who they are. And that's the beauty of it. Seeing the uniqueness of each individual as a human being, because we're all in this together. We're all in this mush pot mashing of energy together. And that's part of our lesson that we have to learn on this earth. And it's fucking hard. And it's sometimes crazy. And sometimes we got, if you live long enough, life will humble you. And life will level your defenses and expose your bad habits. And my thought comes to an astronaut. These guys who are astronauts, they go out there and they're looking at the world. They're looking at this world and how it's just this beautiful, massive energy, this planet. Yet when they come back, they have to come back like a genie in a bottle, have to get sucked back into all of the segregation, all of the divisions. But when you go far enough out, there are no divisions. There are no borders. There's just this oneness. And that's where that humbling comes in. And this is where you reveal self-deception and all in attempt to push you beyond your self-inflicted nonsense and self-imposed unworthiness. When you are paying attention, you will get the point. When you are not, you will be humbled. And I think this is a time in our life and a time in our world that we're becoming to become humbled. It is a time in the age of spirit, in the age of air, that is coming in for us not for us to look at the intellect, but us to integrate it into our own being and have a look at how that feels. Because we'll all become a slave of sorts to what we believe. Each of us has a set of our core beliefs that compete with our divinity and attract the very things we try desperately to avoid. That's very powerful. That's part of tapping into your flame and tapping into that power and energy of your blue flame. That's part of the course, is looking at that part of becoming humbled with who you are and understanding that, yeah, I can be humbled, but you know what? In my core beliefs might be, yes, this is who I am, but the divinity, the spirit that calls me needs to humble me, and I need to become humbled in order to open up to become that sovereign. In Proverbs verse 3, 5 to 6. Now, you guys know I'm not biblical, but this is what came to me. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Wow. I think that's almost like is it the Seven of Swords? I think it's the Seven of Swords. Nope. Seven of Swords. No, 7, 8. The 7 or 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords, where he's showing you a new path. There's a new path, but you got to trust me. You got to trust. And it's swords, so it's intellect. It's got to trust the information I'm giving you to come upon this road. And that's the thing, is like, trust in your divine. You can trust in your Lord with all your heart, and do not depend on your own understanding, because sometimes your own understanding will deceive you, because it's part of those core beliefs. And that's partially, this is where this energy is going. When we get into the philosophical or the depth of this energy, it brings you into this depth, into this core of transformation and change. It brings us into enormous healing. And within that enormous healing, it gets you to, for the blessings, I do, I've started a new blessing that I do with myself each morning, and whoa, I can just feel the energies in it. And it's the blessing of, and it's called the blessing of the head, and bringing in that blessings and with the water. And what are the specifics of it? We don't always need the answers. Sometimes it takes leaving something and believing that something better will come. Exactly, Lisa. And that's fucking hard. I mean, sometimes that is very hard. The specifics of the course. The course is about tapping into your power, your inner being, and your blue flame. And what your blue flame is an energy. I mean, the blue flame is something that is not everybody is. The blue flame is a positive love, and we have this positive love, and it's a frequency that we transmute negative energies into pure, positive, universal love, and receive the strength we need in our weakest moments. And it's what pulls us up through difficult times when we have no idea how we're still standing. And tapping into your blue flame is tapping into this energy of this knowingness. And it is something that is not having to do with karmic, say, having to deal with a relationship that you have to go through, but it's having to come through and go and step into understanding what your soul is, because your soul is designed with who you are and what you came in. Spirit is God, spirit, universe is spirit, and aligning those two. And as you align those two energies, it allows you to come into that creative solution. And that's what my course is about. It's 6 weeks. It is starting July 7th. It's stepping into that energy. I'm moving into the next element, coming into the fire of transformation. And the blue flame is that beautiful energy of transformation, and coming into the diamond consciousness. And the diamond consciousness is the white flame. The white flame is that all purity of energy that changes things. If you've ever watched a glass blower and the flame becomes all white because it's so hot, that is really when things get transformed. And that transformation comes in of creating that beautiful piece of glass. So that's what the course is. And there's going to be handouts. I'm working on them. And there is, it's an amazement. It's amazement of becoming and stepping into your, I would say, your sovereignty, to being your queen of who you are, or your king of who you are. And that's what the course is. And this is, where, you might, going, with the energies today, there's stressing out to make it big, bring it to earth. Venus is stressed today. The goddess is stressed. She's in Cancer. She's emotional. She's feeling all these energies, and she's just overwhelmed. And I think that's with a lot of us. We are totally overwhelmed with a lot of the energies that are coming through. We're overwhelmed with what's coming through with the news and what's going on in the world around us. But this is where, and I keep on seeing this beautiful man, Muslim man, and he's like laughing. He says, you got to laugh. You got to find that joy in the life. And, when things get crazy or unexpected, it's, you find the beauty in it, and you find the beauty around you, and the beauty, for, even being in a refugee camp. I mean, some of us have never have witnessed it. Some of us have to come to Canada. Some of us have gone, some people who are Canadians today have gone through those refugee camps to get here. And this is all like, migration is all a part of this world. Like, everybody's migrated from one place to another place to one, and that's this integration of creating and learning and becoming this mix mash of diversity. And that's, to me, that's where we need to go. And that's how you can heal. You can't heal when you're angry and yelling at people. You can't heal when you are wanting to step on somebody's neck. You can't heal. And that's the thing. And people are needing to open up to that. And maybe they're going to get the hammer of Thor today, because they need to heal. Because sometimes, and when that hammer of Thor comes in, like in my chart, I also have 3 yods, which is 3 fingers of God. And the 3 fingers of God are, and usually people don't even have a yod. It's a very strong energy to create, to follow the directions of your divinity, to follow the directions of what's inside. And you get 3 of them. That means I get a lot of kicks in the ass to do the shit that I'm supposed to be doing. And that's coming up here and talking to you all, bringing you information, allowing for you to noodle it over and chew on it and spit it out, and maybe, look at something else. But that's the thing. We want you to do that. We do. It's like, take and learn your history. Learn, history's filled with such beautiful nuances. It's like, when I found out more about King Henry VIII and rewriting the Bible, and he used Shakespeare, like, for God's sake, no wonder. And he left out things, and words were translated wrong, and that was just taken as word for hundreds of years. And we're finding that out, that a lot of the translations were like, oh, he didn't mean the end of the world. No, it meant an end of an era. Wow, that sure in the hell makes a difference. This is where it's like, understanding that, and how much even words from the 1600s are coming out to warn us of this time, for us to come together in unity and question everything, question the things that are going on, question when information comes out. One of my questions, and I will bring it up, those beautiful souls that passed away in Kamloops, BC, how did they die? Because chronologically, in that era of time of death, tuberculosis was on the rise and killing massive of people of the time. So what were they all dying from? What was the cause? Things like that. It's these types of questions I want to ask. I want to know. It's like the more that you understand, the more you know, the more you can, take a look at it. Not saying to dismiss it. That's not a dismissive. That's just bringing in some information and allowing for healing to happen. Because that whole thing is an atrocity. Right? The whole thing is an atrocity. So there's a lot of things that we have to learn from to grow and move forward. And that's all that we can do in this lifetime. So we have a set of core beliefs that compete with our divinity. Yes, we do. And that's going to really, for us to understand doesn't happen overnight. What happens to you, right? What happened to you? It's like looking at what happened to you. So over the years, people ask, this is looking at your information, what is happening between you and somebody else, what's happening to you and whomever, right? And this is like only you understanding doesn't happen overnight. It takes us time. And this is allowing for us to step into our power and step into our blessings and allow ourselves to come into our blessings of our beauty of who we are. Sending you guys out with so much love. Definitely take a look at my new course coming out, and it's one of those courses like the Journey Club. So those who've taken the Journey Club, it's like one of those courses that is coming in to bring in transformation and change in somebody's life. So have a great one, and we will talk to you soon. Blessed be everybody. Remember, watch your emotions today. Just saying, watch your emotions, because that could come in and sneak into you. And we don't want to piss off Mary Poppins, because we know when you piss off Mary Poppins, shit can hit the fan in some unique ways. You might be dancing with penguins. Who knows? Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.